All right. New BlueJay, by the way. How to survive as a court jester. Let's go.
Oi, Alex, you coming with us to the pub tonight? Yeah, of course, man. But someone else is driving Henry home this time. Oh, come off it. It was only a wee bit of vomit. All right, then. I can take...
Nice.
Take...
No!
Kyle. What's happening?
What happened?
Did he,
What happened?
Sebastian!
No!
Alex, I'm not feeling so good.
Oh no!
Whoa! I think I got a little my mouth there. That's the thing with teleporting, though. Sometimes a person is, standing there. You killed him! You exploded Henry!
He got telefragged!
Hey, name, you'll get attached. It was a person! And it has perfectly good organs, getting a light sear on the asphalt right now. So if you could put your fuss in and fetch a cooler, that'd be great. And I assume it was you who gomaged my other friends? Yeah, I accidentally had my telegizmo set to traumatic spontaneous atomization instead of teleport.
Whoops.
Dang thing's so fidgety. What are you doing
I hate when that happens.
I was gonna ask you the same thing, silly. Running off halfway across the globe with nothing but the clothes on your back and the shoes on your feet and the GPS chip in your brain. It's almost like you're trying to hide from me or something. No, of course not. I just thought I'd get in place early for the next lesson.
Man versus God.
The land of England was a perfect choice, my lad, as you'd be hard-pressed to find a more iconic state to prance and sing, making jokes to bling, whilst wearing bells that ring. What? Oh, dear boy, but of course it is the elusive court jester to whom I refer. The iconic silly goose, famous for gracing royal courts with wit and whimsy. So let us now travel back in time to unwind a profession sublime and learn everything behind.
I just noticed. Goose.
Find the jokester role most refined. Oh no, that's right, Alex. Today, I'm gonna teach you how to survive as a court jester.
Oh boy. Hi, I'm BlueJay. A whole food is half a profit. As if you needed more ego. This? Yes.
What is this? The silly court jester, you may believe, a phenomenon very Europe-y. For rulers and tyrants, they dance with flair, a whimsically witty soliloquy. But truth be told, the fool is everywhere. From China to Maya, they're far from rare. Their name may change, but matching jokes,
Yo, Balatro? Yo, Balatro? Balatro mentioned.
Zing. An English fool in Rome would fit in square. Is this gonna be the whole video? Across the world, for each
it's gonna be the whole video.
A prancing gesture 'twas a common thing. Their presence and splendor none bat an eye, as all knew well the merriment fools bring. To European courts let us first spy. Their services paid with nothing too shy. Acres of land and golden coin to buy. So kick back and relax and hope you don't get drafted. What? Like all good things in life, no idea is truly worth their salt until someone tries to weapon.
Also, hello, the guy. Wait, pigeon-guided missile? Sorry, buddy, but if you're not here for the stream, well, you should have been here when it was live.
In the beloved Jester, ever prancing about the royal courts of the world, was no exception. So if they can dance around on a clothesline, why not the front line? That's right, while your 9 to 5 might sound like some wacky fun, in your new life as a court jester, you may very well find yourself with some mandatory overtime riding in the vanguard of armies. For while telling tales and juggling flails is an art, so too is rage baiting. And jesters from Europe to Japan could be used as a form of psychological art, so too is
the monkey does not concern himself with the lion's rage.
Rage baiting. And
the monkey rage baits the lion.
Can be used as a form of psychological warfare. But this isn't really relevant to you unless,
war were declared.
Battle of Hastings.
Hastings!
Oh my god, are we safe here? No.
Of course
I don't want to die here. Me neither, champ. And most jesters didn't either. That's why they did their best to boost troop morale by telling jokes and bringing some levity. So how about you try that instead of bitching?
Jokes.
What do you call a monkey that flies?
What's a monkey?
A hot air baboon.
You put what into balloons?
I don't think it's only 3 of those things, but that would have killed in a few centuries, so A for effort, Alex. Well, what now? While great at boosting morale, a jester also served to bring down the enemies by taunting the opposing front line. So skip your way on up there and maybe see if you can piss them off real good. Why on earth would I want to do that? Sure, chastising soldiers can be a great life hack for getting your life hacked, but it can also work wonders for breaking enemy formations. Take Typher, a jester for William the Conqueror. conqueror.
Ooh.
Legend says that before one battle, he rode out towards the enemy English troops, sang while juggling his sword, and killed an Englishman who ran out to fight him. He then valiantly charged the enemy line, where he killed 4 more before falling. But despite his untimely demise, the Normans would go on to win the battle. Where's Typher when you need him? Oh, that battle was this one. He's right there, charging towards you with English bloodlust. I'm going to juggle your organs and pluck me loot with your tooth.
Oh, shoot!
What do I do? I don't know. Defeat him with your Jester training or something. I don't know how to be a Jester. Yeah, maybe we should start with the basics first. All right, we'll come back to this later. Before you learn the ins and outs of the royal court, we gotta get you there in the first place. Luckily for you, the need for jestering was practically a universal constant, with almost every major civilization having them in vogue at one point or another. The English, of course, had their fools, the Romans their Balatros, the Cowboys their
mentioned
fans.
Again.
Practically every culture you can think of had their share of stupid people to laugh at. And while it's impossible to generalize the various routes to jesterdom across so many cultures, we're gonna do it anyway, and narrow it down to 3
They're jonklin over in Rome.
Whimsical paths to snagging your royal cap and bells. Let's say you choose to be an artificial jester, or a person that puts in good old-fashioned elbow grease to perfect their craft. These were your jugglers, humblers, and acrobatic tumblers, employing a wide variety of skills from singing and poetry to magic and jokery. But training your wit and talent is the easy part, where things start to get dicey is acquiring that court part of the court jester title. Okay, so I'll just go audition or something. Not quite how it works, Alex. For the most part, recruiting court jesters was a stupendously informal process, quite similar to that of casting Hollywood movies. A film's lead role doesn't go to the most talented actress with the best audition, it goes to Harvey Weinstein's favorite. In a much similar vein, a European court jester can have a wide number of informal origins. They could be a college dropout who refused to conform, or a local blacksmith who jokes up a storm, a thrown-out monk who flirted with nuns, or a jongleur most skilled with puns. Regardless of job, privilege, or class, there'd be only one test you are to pass. When you see an aristocrat, make them laugh and get a hat.
Nice.
What, that's it? Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Keep in mind...
Pretty much. Huh, true to life.
We're talking about a time before stuff like Archer and Nathan Fielder existed. Quality comedy was in rather short supply. One of the most iconic English jesters was a man by the name of Roland the Farter. Take a wild guess what his signature act was. Farting. Alex, this is the English crown we're talking about. They're more sophisticated than that. It was a simultaneous jump, whistle, and fart performed every Christmas to the applause of King Richard and the tears of Jesus. The bar for comedy was pretty low in these times. Okay, so we have 2 candles, a dozen eggs. These onions don't have a price on them. Well then, they must be free. Betty, put him in the trunk. It's important to note that different regions will have different desirable traits in a jester. So make sure you do your homework before pursuing a court position. For example, you might have a harder time being chosen in a place like Russia, where, according to Beatrice Otto, the jesters were typically chosen from the older and uglier peasants. And the older they were, the funnier they were expected to be. What about this one? I don't understand. Is he afraid to touch balls? Well, we know you aren't. Alec, not in public. Jesus, are you alive? Not for long.
Cancer sauce. That's awesome. Cancer sauce.
I have stage 4 colon cancer.
What? That is fucking hilarious. While being picked for the royal court involved a lot of luck, being in the right place at the right time, there were measures you could take to nudge the odds in your favor. To boost your visibility, you could join a fool society. Your typical group...
A fool society, aka, Vtuber community.
Of traveling entertainers who were hired for events to perform acrobatics and juggling. Or perhaps you could stretch your musical muscles and become a minstrel. People who put on shows for the amusement of the public.
Whoa,
all around good fun for the whole family. So long as you don't put the 2 words together. Even with these lessons, this all still seems like a pretty large hurdle to be...
Bro, is that fucking blackface, dude?
Becoming a court jester. To becoming an artificial court jester, Alex. Such a name implies there is another, and in many cultures, a more desirable type of fool.
Is there an organic
the natural jester? Just like it sounds, a natural jester was a person so intrinsically gifted in the art of foolery, it was as if they were born to be one. A jester whose mere presence in a royal court was all that was needed to flood the halls with laughter, joy, and mirth. Wow,
look at how happy they are.
Robin Williams? Just a very
He's
charismatic and funny person? No, come on, Alex. You know what kind of channel this is. The kids were actually severely disabled, making them ripe for the picking by wealthy families who could cop them from goose herds for as little as 20 guilders. While it sounds pretty fucked up to purchase a disabled kid to laugh at, in general, there's very little to suggest this wasn't done to be charitable. After all, it's rather difficult to meet your...
This isn't a joke. This is actually how Germany's most famous jester, Klaus Narr, was supposedly found. He was just strangling geese in a pond. Man, the Middle Ages or something else.
Goose quota when little Klaus keeps strangling them under his belt, and growing up in the care of wealthy nobles...
Oh, he had a belt of geese! I didn't even know that. I didn't even see that.
Hardly be called a difficult life. Just be careful if you're a natural in England, as there were numerous cases of them being recruited for nefarious reasons. In a practice called begging a fool, caregivers would abuse the courts to get victims legally declared insane to profit off them, as laws allowed the assets of an idiot, their words, to be transferred to whoever was taking care of them. What? That's terrible. I can't believe that used to exist. Careful with the past tense there, Alex. The practice of manipulating idiots for profit is actually alive and well today. It's just that the term has since changed to subscribing to OnlyFans. But anyway, if you want to pursue the natural jester route, obviously you're gonna have to meet a few prerequisites. So let's go ahead and disable you a bit. Hey, wait!
That's topical. That's topical.
Did that do anything? I don't feel different. Huh. What are you insinuating? As with their artificial
he was already
naturals too. We're often
he was already special,
like gumballs from a machine. That is, already so long as the passing courtier happens to find themselves with a sweet tooth. I told you the king wouldn't like the last one. Well, how was I to know the man was a one-joke wonder? You heard him, Betty. With no price tag, it must be free. That's genius. Oh, please. If I wanted to spend my days listening to men choke that hard, I'd be a lifeguard. Now, what about this one? No, the king specified he wanted a natural. Hey guys, you seen the new episode of The Big Bang Theory? Honey, we've struck gold. Naturals didn't just mean people with mental deformities, however. It also included the physical as well. Dwarves were a staple of royal courts from the Aztecs to China, with some cultures cherishing them most of all jesters. The Ottoman Empire in particular loved their dwarves, and according to one French travelogue, when a dwarf is found who is also mute, deaf, and a eunuch, he is seen as the most perfect of all creatures.
The funniest being in the world. You gotta be a manlet, you gotta be mute, you gotta be deaf, and of course, you gotta have your loins lopped off.
More admired than the most handsome man. So, when in Turkey, the more disabilities you collect like Labubus, the more favored you'll be in the eyes of the Sultan.
The onion man, Suleiman the Magnificent, he says with his giant onion hat,
You may not like it, but this is what peak male physique looks like. Okay, but why do people tend to prefer natural jesters over artificial ones? Now that is a fantastic question, Alex. Other than the fact that humanity's history of laughing at different looking people is about as dense as
a new video that I got recommended. We should watch that.
Kanye West, there were other humanity's history of laughing at different looking people is about as dense as Kanye West. There were other theories as to why they were so popular. Dr. Lee Siegel theorizes that corporeal disfiguration provides the comic metaphor for spiritual deformity, intellectual disproportion, psychological rigidity, or emotional awkwardness. In short, keeping a deformed person around could help make sure a king doesn't forget that they're not perfect themselves. Hey king, I'm here for the jester role. Who did they send this time? Oh my god.
Oh my god, he's tiny.
I should talk to my mother more often. Pardon?
Wow.
Yes, I should have pardoned Timothy. Who cares if our scandalous relationship got out? He was my muse. Whoa, hey, so I'm just gonna juggle. Oh, the men I juggle like succulent toys of pleasure. Whether you go the natural or artificial jester route, each path will have the relative pros and cons.
But what about the third one? We haven't even
mentioned what this would all be like if you were a woman. Oh god.
Oh no.
It must have been terrible. Actually, no. Jestery was one of the few roles in history that was completely untaboo for women to take on, sharing the same respect and responsibilities as their male counterparts without any stigma. Huh. Yeah. Not gonna lie, I expected worse. Not everything is terrible on this channel, Alex. Sometimes history can be based. Oh, well.
Based on what?
That's nice. Yeah.
Based
Now
on
let's
what?
talk about child bodily disfiguration. Anyone and their mothers could pursue
okay.
an artificial Jester route, but the oft more desirable naturals could only be born, not made. Right? Introducing the artificial natural fool.
Oh boy. Anyone have stream hiccups? It might just be you. It may just be you.
Or someone
Maybe.
who artificially passes themselves off as a disabled Jester. Now, this could be done one of two ways. You could put on a Class A...
Wait, isn't that the plot of that one film, The Ringer? Or that's one South Park episode?
Act of feigning a mental deficiency in public for the rest of your days, or you could take the more convincing path. This here is a child. A child is very squishy, making them excellent Play-Doh for whatever work of art their parents find themselves inspired to make. Soft spot on head, squeeze it. Young, smooth skin.
Oh, that's messed up. You can't. Okay, let me just zoop. Maybe I should have chat in a different spot. Oh. Yeesh.
Burn it. Flexible foot bones? Break them. And if you wanted to sell off kids to royal courts for a profit, artificially mutilate their bodies or stunt their growth to create grotesque physical characteristics or manufactured dwarves. That can't be real. And you very well might be right. Much of the information in this section should be taken with a healthy sprinkle of doubt, as while historical documents exist for these practices, evidence is sufficiently scarce that much of it could just be chalked up to folklore. So let's...
It could just be bullshit. Holy guacamole, it's probably fake.
Start with the most likely fictitious tales and work our way towards what was undoubtedly real. If you were lucky enough to be born to a poor family in 17th century Spain, you could find yourself being pawned off to the Compra Chicos. Wonder what that means. The folklore goes that the gangs would stunt a child's growth through either physical restraint, muzzling the face, slitting the eyes, dislocating joints, or works. Or it could be done with anointing baby spines with the grease of bats, moles, and dormice.
Oh my god, it's Rufus!
And with drugs like dwarf elder, knotgrass, or daisy juice.
Daisy
all things that sound like
juice?
someone just threw darts at a dictionary. After some time in the cripple factory, they'd supposedly be sold off for a profit as jesters and court dwarves to meet the growing demand. The term compra chicos was coined by Victor Hugo in one of his books, a man who attests to the historical existence of these gangs. While some of my sources doubt that exact existence, some claim similar practices did take place in different times throughout history. Beatrice Otto also points out that the practice was even known to Shakespeare, who references
Jester Scholar. Man, that's awesome. That must be an awesome job. That must be an awesome job. Bravo, Miss Otto. You are the clown expert.
the Dwarfinator cocktail in A Midsummer Night's Dream. But what if you were born to an impoverished Mexico family living in the Aztec capital at the turn of the 16th century? Well, if mom and pop were in a rather crafty mood, they too could stunt your growth in hopes of improving your chances at life. Dwarves and hunchbacks were very popular additions to Montezuma II's retinue, so much so that they even had their own special quarters complete with constant medical supervision, along with rooms for other men, women, ocelots, bears, what, like a zoo? Your words, Alex. Although, to be fair, it's unclear if the human portion of the Royal Zoo was truly people in cages to throw peanuts at, or if they were just merely private rooms in the same facility, or in a different building altogether. Aztec history is famously contradictory. But regardless, dwarves were seen as children of the rain god, who could act as jesters and trusted servants to the emperor. So if you land yourself in this occupation, really make sure you put your heart into it. Because with your divine connection as a dwarf, you're
gonna get it ripped out. You're gonna get your heart ripped out. Yep. What's the Aztecs without human sacrifice?
Yours is first in line to be taken. Of course, physical deformities were only one side of the natural coin. In places like
Aztecs,
15th century Scotland, the practice of feigning a folly to try and snag a natural gig became such a profitable hustle that a law had to be passed to put a stop to it. If you were caught red-handed,
away putting of feignet fools.
Pretending to be mentally disabled, they'd be sure to make you physically disabled, with punishments like ear nailing and amputation. So, at the end of the day, you would become a genuine natural. Just one that might not be able to juggle. Surely, I imagine, one could also pretend to have a physical disability to make them stand out more, especially if they already had one to accompany it. But I'd think such a stunt would be a bit harder to pull off. So, what are you offering? How about my deaf natural dwarf for your artificial whistle farter? Is it graded? Mid 9 condition. Excellent. Can't have anyone else heard about my hemorrhoids.
Wait a
did that
minute.
thing just fucking hear me? Now that we've covered the 3 routes to Jesterdom, we gotta figure out what your responsibilities will be in your new royal home. Your basics, of course, will be serving as both an entertainer and a trusted advisor, using quips, flips, and magic tricks to amuse the patrons of the court while talking down your king from killing random peasants. What? Oh look, here's your king now.
Yes,
Maybe
of
so you
course.
can plop a smile on that regal mug. So, hey, like, why did the, chicken cross the road? I don't know. Maybe I'll ask him over a beer right after I fucking kill you! While it wasn't common for jesters to be outright killed by their royal patrons, that doesn't mean they weren't threatened, like, all the time. As a fool, you generally have an unparalleled privilege to say whatever you please.
Jester's privilege, heck yeah!
Being practically the only member of a royal court that was able to speak truth to power. But even though you were expected to make jokes at a ruler's expense, that doesn't mean they weren't still, at the end of the day, petty rich assholes. The Chinese jester, Jingxin Mo, was once chased by a dog when he cracked a joke that the emperor shouldn't let his kids run around biting people. Taking offense, the emperor aimed his bow at him and only stayed his arrow after the fool's second joke happened to land. Whether it be execution, banishment, or even amputation, there are a plethora of anecdotes throughout history of jesters relying on wit to evade punishments as if their life depended on it. Because it did. But your witticisms won't always revolve around avoiding executions, they could also serve to enhance them. The Russian jesters for Ivan the Terrible, for instance, were tasked with making the Tsar laugh before and after an execution. This guy's kind of full of himself, isn't he? Well, not anymore. Having a license to be brutally honest, you'll also be tasked with delivering bad news to royalty. So, as a court jester, you're gonna need to juggle, pun intended, accurately informing your king about a terrible event while sprinkling in just enough humor to calm his head and keep yours. After the English routed the French ships in the Battle of Sluys, it was
kind of like me, sometimes.
It's up to the jester of France's King Philip VI to inform his majesty of his navy's terrible defeat. To do so, he went to the king and shouted, "The English cowards! The lily-livered English!" A sentiment that, of course, we all normally share, but the king asked for an explanation anyway, to which he said, "They don't even have the guts to jump into the water like our brave French." Huh. What? I guess I was just expecting a French people bad joke from you. I can't, Alex. Have you played Expedition 33? That game's incredible. I'm afraid the French are based now. But hey, you've got...
Darn. Expedition 33 and Sarue. The duo of, wow, the French are actually pretty cool. Okay, maybe not the latter. But what do I know? I haven't played the former.
Free reign to joke about them as much as you want. Why would I want to do that? Probably because you're going to tell the king about his wife cheating on him with a French diplomat. Well, good luck. Hey. Yeah. Know any good ways to store a baguette? Well, your wife sure does. You won't just be delivering information to your royal patron.
Don't kill the messenger.
Being trusted with highly sensitive information means you could also find yourself running messages all across foreign lands, which also included the battlefield. Which also included the enemy camp. Terms of surrender, huh? Okay, great. Just step into my office. Being a trusted advisor with a sense of humor, you'll also be quite the useful asset for delicate diplomatic missions, and occasionally fistfights. I'm sorry. Having a blunt fool at the negotiating table could prove vital for easing tensions, which was precisely the hopes of Kings Matyas of Hungary and George of Bohemia when they met in a tent for negotiations after a battle. During a meal, a noble thought it'd be funny if each king's jester were to decide between Catholicism and Hussite Protestantism by having a fistfight, because nothing ever bad happens when both religion and violence are involved.
Hey, it's kind of like an argument in Morrowind. Whoever wins is right.
Kings gave them the thumbs up so long as they fought in a knightly manner, which didn't last too long, as when he started to lose, the Hungarian jester picked up, quote, the monstrous machine and chucked it at the Bohemian.
The monstrous machine, holy smokes. And it's just a cube with missing textures. R.I.P. missing texture jokes, because the CSS, the Counter-Strike source textures are just baked into Gary's mod now. it only took them like, what, 20 years?
I have no idea what earthly device could prompt a historian to think that the only possible way to describe it would be to call it monstrous, so I can only conclude either the Hungarian had a fiendish patron who granted him access to demonic contraptions from beyond this material
Is that
plane,
the scorn
or he
gun?
just threw a dildo or something. Either way, it said this caused an uproar that began to look like a bloodbath until the king stepped in, and humanity forever learned their lesson about religious conflict. With how close a Jester was to his king, you'll have to stick by his side during times of hardship. For example, the dwarf Jester Motherine risked her life trapping an assassin who failed to kill her king, Henry IV. In another story, when the Holy Roman Emperor Maximilian I was imprisoned, his Jester broke in and pleaded to take his place. So make sure you practice keeping a grip on the soap, because as a Jester, you may be expected to take your king's punishment in their stead. The tribunal finds you guilty of high treason to your people, for which you are hereby sentenced to flogging, flaying, third-degree burning, first-degree burning, guillotining of every third finger, branding, eye gouging, second-degree burning, and death by rats. Does the defendant have any questions? So is that, like, good with you? And if you found yourself as a Jester in Ireland,
ride or
I
die.
hope you're feeling patriotic, because selfless acts were rather iconic of Irish Jesters. Stories tell of Irish fools replacing their masters in battle to die in their stead, or even choosing to die by their side to join them in heaven. Whoa! I'm glad that missed us. Yeah, looks like I just hit that Irish king over there.
Oh no!
It seems this be the end for us.
Come, laddie, join us in death's embrace. I'm actually completely fine.
No, we must die together, my brother.
Oh no!
I order you.
BlueJay, help me. Alex, please. Who am I to deny a king his final wish? Please! You can't torture me if I'm dead! You know me so well.
Oh, good point.
At the end of the day, the most important task a Jester has is to humanize their ruler. With your unique insight into the moods and tics of the members of court, and with your license of honesty, novelty, and overall comedy, you and you alone will have the deepest, most profound connection with your king. With this influence comes great responsibility, as unchecked power breeds a blinding rot, a rot that festers and bleeds if not pushed back with the light of empathy. And this light, my dear Alex, shines from a lone Jester, standing in the dark void of greed. This position, for all its silly frivolity, is a vital one, as your close-knit bond with the king will be unrivaled by anyone else in his life. So, Alex,
even
can
more
you
than
take
the
up
queen?
this responsibility? Can you survive as a court jester? I can. I will do what is right. For the good of all people. Excellent! Looks like we can resume our battle then.
Oh, back to Hastings!
You English
He'll be just fine. The history of
He'll
Jesters.
be fine.
20 out of 10 stars.
20 out of 10 stars. Best occupation ever. I love being a Jester. I love being a clown. Yeah!